All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with part 3 of In the Studio, and it's a very short third part. I thought we were going to lump them all together, but the break was much needed. All K-pop Toasters has run downstairs, and here we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the concept of first or second pick. We're going to look at some numbers and decide which is actually better. Is there perhaps some data to support first or second pick being stronger? Let's find out as we move into what's in a coin flip.
It's the first non-arbitrary decision in a professional Dota match. You win the coin toss. There are 4 choices. What do you choose and why? Is there even a best choice? We'll dig into that question today on Dota Dissection. For those of you that are unfamiliar with how the coin flip worked at the International, as well as most other tournaments, obviously a coin is flipped, whether digitally or analog. The winner of the coin flip has 4 choices: Dire or Radiant side, or first or second pick. The loser of the coin toss then selects based upon what the winner of the coin toss selected. For example, if the winner of the coin toss chose Dire side, the loser of the coin toss would then be able to choose between first and second pick. If the game is a series, the order is swapped so that each team plays what they didn't do previously. If there's a third match or a fifth match required, another coin flip occurs. At the International 4 last month, a whopping 84% of matches saw the team with the first pick on the Radiant side and the team with the second pick on the Dire side. Meaning, the majority of teams prioritized either Radiant or first pick when winning the toss. Talking to some players, my suspicions were realized. Most teams at TI4 preferred taking first pick when winning the coin toss. But was that prioritization justified? Let's take a look. The overall record of first pick at TI was 92-74, or 55.4%. A pretty strong showing with a decent sample size. There's a possible confound though. As I said earlier, 84% of teams who choose first pick end up on the Radiant side. Is it possible that Radiant was strong enough to skew the numbers? As you can see, Radiant performed worse than Dire overall, as well as in both pick orders. Which means, first pick success does not seem to be correlated with the fact that most teams with first pick ended up on Radiant. Quite the opposite actually, as Dire performed better than Radiant throughout the tourney. You also saw there that Dire had a pretty good tournament, and that's true enough. The discussion on which of the two asymmetrical sides in Dota is better is an old and controversial one. The actual win rates of the two sides have fluctuated throughout the 3+ years of competitive Dota play. However, one thing has remained constant over the last 4 patches, and that's that first pick wins. As you can see here, over all of patch 6.81, Radiant has held a very slight advantage. However, first pick is about 5% higher in win rate than second pick. In 6.80, Radiant again holds an advantage, albeit slightly bigger than the one in 6.81. And first pick has about a 2% win rate advantage over second pick. In 6.79, Dire now has an advantage by about 3%. And first pick also has about a 3% win rate advantage over second pick. In 6.78, we see that Radiant once again has a very slight lead, as does first pick by about 1.5%. At this point, the advent of patch 6.78 brought about the changes to Captain's Mode that made it look like what we're familiar with today. We went from 4 total phases to 6. The order was also altered a bit. What was arguably the most important change was that second pick lost the final pick of the draft. That instead went to first pick. Looking at some of the data before that change occurred, in patch 6.77, we can see that second pick is actually slightly stronger. Therefore, it appears that the drafting change that occurred in patch 6.78 has been responsible for first pick being so strong. So, it would seem that first pick is strong and has been for at least a year, but will it remain that way? While doing some prep for this research, I talked to some pros, and some of them say they already prefer drafting from the second pick position, because it allows them the unique ability to draft 2 heroes in a row, possibly securing a strong support duo or a wombo combo. Now, the beautiful thing about Dota is that the smallest changes in heroes or drafting conventions could be enough to tip the scales and allow second pick to be stronger than first pick once again. However, as it stands, I feel like it's worth revisiting the order in which the draft progresses, because being able to get the first pick and selecting a last uncounter-pickable hero might be a bit much. I'm Brian K-Poptosis Heron, and this has been the first edition of Dota Dissection.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up In the Studio Season 2, Episode 2. Thank you so much for joining us here, and remember to check out 100tb.com. We'll be back next week. Continuing on with our schedule, LD is coming back to LA tonight. That's right, tonight. After this, I get to do the VODs and then head over to LAX to pick him up. Oh, lucky me. But he'll be back. We'll have a David back in the studio, and he'll be casting once again. I know so many of you have been looking forward to that, and he's looking forward to it as well. Again, thank you for joining us. See you next time on In the Studio.